Dallas Mavericks go up against the Indiana Pacers and their 6'9 savior, Danny Granger. Coming up next.
With a decade's worth of All-Star appearances to his credit, Jason Kidd is NBA royalty. We'll see the Dallas Mavericks facing the Indiana Pacers. Thank you for joining us. It's the NBA presented by 2K Sports for this Thursday afternoon game. Now a look at Dallas's starting lineup. Dirk Nowitzki and Tyson Chandler in the middle. Stevenson out there with Jason Kidd and Butler. And for the Pacers, Paul George and Danny Granger on the perimeter. Tyler Hansbrough out there with Roy Hibbert and Collison. Always a big asset for any sports team. This Mavs team is lucky to have such a dynamic owner committed to winning. Even though they have an aging roster, they've managed to be a premier team for the last decade. But do you think that their window is shrinking a little bit?
Well, you always have to be cognizant of that. There is a certain shelf life for players and a group of players on a particular team, and certainly the Mavs are moving in that direction. So we'll see how it plays out over the next year or two, but you have to consider that Kidd and Nowitzki not only have a lot of years on their resumes, but they've also got a lot of miles on their bodies too.
Now let's send it to Doris from the sideline.
Kevin, when asked about last season, Danny Granger described it as, quote, trying with injuries, including a torn plantar fascia and some family issues that really weighed on his mind. And then there was the losing. He said, we've been so inconsistent as a team, we haven't had all of our players and our record is terrible. It's a tough situation that we've gone through. Losing takes its toll on you. We'll see if this new season brings some relief in Indianapolis, guys.
It would be nice to see them turn it around. Thank you, Doris. Clark, going back to that point about Kidd and Dirk, window closing or window closed?
I would say closing, Kevin, because they still have much to offer. Now you have to be very selective in how you massage their minutes during the course of the season, practices and game, and then you'd like to see an infusion of some young, active, energetic talent to take some of the load off of those guys sooner rather than later.
The Mavericks making a switch here. Hansbrough with the ball. Defended by Nowitzki. Hibbert kept alive. Granger misses.
Starting this game, nothing's going down for him.
Granger against Kidd. Now Terry. George gets the whistle for blocking. That is his first foul of the game. Rick Carlisle played in the NBA for 6 seasons. He had a journeyman career.
And he transitioned right into coaching, Kevin. I think he knew that's what he wanted to do. He worked as an assistant for a few seasons, and he's been a head coach for the Pistons, Pacers, and now the Mavericks.
Nowitzki. Indiana off to a slow start. It's a 5-point game. Let's catch up with Doris from the sideline.
I was able to talk with Jim O'Brien for a minute. In his opinion, this game is all about trying to combat the effects that a terrific defense like theirs can have on your team. He said it's so easy to be intimidated by these guys, but we simply can't let that happen. We need to have the confidence to go right after them. We'll see how aggressive they are from the start, Kevin.
Thanks, Doris. Clark, so much for advanced scouting.
Sometimes that's a false prophecy, though, and you have to adjust to what the other team is coming out and running.
Nowitzki, just the 4th German player in NBA history, and Clark certainly the best.
Yeah, he's also the best.
And he flushes it through. Spike Slamcam with the replay.
Where did that come from? A little bit of a shock to see one of those jams out of this fella.
Well, what a bonus it is when he's making those kinds of plays.
Yeah, value added for sure.
And here's Kidd from the arc. That's good. Kidd's got himself going with the triple, his first basket of the game. We get a look at the Pacers here. What does this team need to do to get on top?
I think they need another star next to Danny Granger, and they need the continued development of young players. Brandon Rush, Roy Hibbert, and certainly a good play at the point guard position would help also.
And Clark, to that point, they have a lot of guys that are solid role players.
So if they could get, if they could get Granger a little help, stay healthy, and see the continued development of a guy like Roy Hibbert, who I think is going to be a really solid offensive center throughout his career, the Pacers will have a chance to maybe sneak into the playoffs. He knew exactly where the ball was going and got a hand on it. The lob was a little misjudged, and he couldn't get control of it.
A different look for Dallas. Marion comes in for Caron Butler, and Barea subbed in for Jason Kidd. Here is Barea. Nowitzki for three. George corrals the miss inside.
He's had some problems finding the range here in this quarter.
Jacks up the triple, and it's Danny Granger with the three. Granger's got his first 3 points of the game. The Mavericks leading. Lets it go. Scooped up. Marion against Granger. Granger against Marion. Back to Nowitzki. Connects from in close. Nowitzki's got 6.
He's just so gifted offensively. He's a tough guy to match up with. Hansbrough with the ball. Not on the scoreboard yet.
Boy, that was nice and easy. But easy's probably just the way he likes it.
Yeah, and the one-hand slam always looks nice, Clark, on the highlight reel. Here is Barea. The three. That's good.
The defense made the mistake of playing off him, and he drained it from deep.
And it's the Pacers' ball, trailing by 4. Here's Granger, dropped in on the layup. Granger's got his second basket of the game. And so here is Dallas. Here's Marion, and off there. He misses his first shot of the night. The kick out to Collison. And there are the Pacers with another bucket. Here is Barea. He's covered by Collison. Pass to Terry, and stolen by Granger. All alone, rips down the breakaway slam.
Excellent defense, and the steal earns him a quick bucket in transition.
Chandler with the ball. Oh, he almost hit it from outside despite the foul. Still, he'll get a trip to the line for 3 free throws.
It's much easier to get 3 points from the line than it is from the perimeter. That's why you never foul out there.
He hits the second from the line. And he makes all 3. Some great action here as the first quarter concludes. Mavericks lead by 1.
They keep working themselves to the foul line. And that's a key ingredient for success when you're trying to scratch out a win on the road.
It's more NBA coming your way. And it's been a tight game as the second quarter gets going. Here is Collison. And for the Pacers, a 32-50 record overall last season, number 10 in the Eastern Conference.
Not what they expected, Kevin, but at home, the Pacers did end up 23-18.
So with Nowitzki sitting on the bench, here's who Rick Carlisle's going with. Caron Butler is out there with Marion. Then there's J.J. Barea. Then there's Haywood and Stevenson. Tipped. Indiana leading. And Clark, home court advantage really can be a huge boost to a team, can't it?
And you find it being the case more with younger teams, Kevin, because it really does give a team like that a burst of energy. But for any team, it helps.
And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Britt. Doris, over to you.
Well, guys, as you know, the Dallas Mavericks are one of the older teams in the entire NBA. Jason Kidd said, "We understand what it takes to win. When you have a veteran ball club, you might be older, people think you might be slower, but you have to use your wisdom and knowledge to win ball games, and that's where we feel we have a huge advantage." And with Kidd bringing it up, guys, the basketball IQ is never a question. Kevin?
Not at all. Thanks, Doris. You hate to say it so often, but it is what it is. Another early exit in the playoffs last year for these Mavericks. They spent so much money. Another disappointment for them.
You know what? It just shows you how difficult it is to have postseason success, Kevin. It's really hard. Teams like the Lakers and Celtics have made it look easy in the past, but it's a difficult thing to do. I mean, heck, that's those teams are good, the Mavericks, but they run into teams that typically are able to have their number. They look great on paper, have a great regular season, but then in the postseason, the matchups get the best of them.
Here's George, clips it in off the sweet pick. He's got 12.
I like the job they're doing, a much better job of getting him involved in the offense here in the second quarter.
Here's Marion, dismissed. You were talking about Dallas in the postseason. How do you lose the label of being soft in the playoffs? And what can they do, Clark? You mentioned the word matchups, and that's what the playoffs are, matchups. But when you're labeled soft, that's a team label.
Yeah. And sometimes I think that can be unfair.
Yeah.
I think the Mavericks have been more of a finesse team, but in recent years they have shown some physicality as well. And sometimes your physicality just doesn't match up to your opponents. That doesn't mean you're soft. That just means you may not have as much as the team you're facing.
And some changes here for the Mavericks. Dirk Nowitzki, he's checked in for Butler. Terry comes in for Deshaun Stevenson. Jason Kidd is subbed in for J.J. Barea. Here's Nowitzki, and he hits that one from down low. Nowitzki's got 11. Dirk Nowitzki in his 13th season in the NBA, the former MVP, and last season, Clark, 25 points per game, good for number 7 in the NBA.
You know what? I'm not sure it's even a debate anymore, Kevin. Nowitzki is clearly the best shooting 7-footer the league has ever seen.
I agree with you. Hansbrough defending. Dirk Nowitzki again. He's got 13.
Well, that's a little bit of the European style of play there. When your bigs can hit the mid-range jumper, it can really open things up for everybody else.
And so they will intentionally foul him.
Yeah, that's a head-scratcher to me. Was that a frustration foul, an angry foul? I guess the other team was getting under his skin a little bit.
Here's George.
Oh, yes!
Oh! Rips in the ferocious champ.
That's the way to exploit the D right there now. Wait for an opening and don't give him a chance to recover.
Well, Clark, he's going to make you pay for those slip-ups.
Yeah, he sure takes advantage of every one of them.
And they will call over the back on the play.
I think that's going to take away from what he does. The team's going to have to pick it up on the defensive end.
Here's Kidd. Pass to Nowitzki. It's taken away by Collison. George, defended by Nowitzki. Haywood grabs the board. Mavericks trailed by 4. And Nowitzki backs in. With the fadeaway. That doesn't go either for Nowitzki.
Well, he faded away on it for no good reason. He shouldn't have made that.
Oh! Does he make it look easy or what, partner? Trust me, that's not easy.
Oh, I know it. I think he could climb over the backboard if he wanted to. Haywood with a screen on Collison. Nowitzki outside. Over Hansbrough. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line. With the Dallas Mavericks. And looking at last year, how they ranked, they tied the Lakers, Clark, for the best record in the West against the East. They were 22-8.
Well, unfortunately for them, Kevin, that regular season track record is not their problem. It's teams in the West that give them fits in the postseason.
True. The Mavericks making a switch here. And he jams it in beautifully.
Now that's a nice dime. What a dime. He dished it inside, and it was right on target.
Here comes Kidd. Pass to Nowitzki. He's against Hansbrough. On the wing, Jason Terry.
I think this quarter particularly, we're seeing them having trouble keeping possession of the ball.
Far, far too many turnovers right now.
George Terry covering. Pulls the trigger. Hansbrough misses. And Clark, when you see the kind of plays where they're unable to run their offense, as a coach, you start getting concerned.
Oh, without question. I mean, you have plays set up, you know your players can run them, and then they throw the ball away. You don't like to see that. They're not concentrated, trying to make a play, but it's about court awareness, understanding not only where your teammates are, but where's the defense. You've got to be able to understand and see both.
2 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. So the Pacers call timeout, their first of the game. And making a change here, the Mavericks. Mavericks on D. 6-point game. 4 on the clock. Here's George. And once again off the mark by Indiana.
That's not something you'll see very often. Got the mid-range jumper he wanted, but off target. Still shooting well from beyond the arc here. And the only way that continues is if they make sure that the shots they get from behind the arc are off of ball movement and player movement and not off the dribble.
And so we wrap up the first half. It's the Pacers up by 6.
Thanks so much for joining us for HP at the Half. I'm Damon Bruce with a terrific game going on in Indiana. Indiana with a lead against Dallas. Some great pressure defense that they're putting on. They've been forcing a lot of turnovers. Danny Granger off to a good start. At the break, 7 points, getting things done on the defensive end too. And on the other side, Dallas just keeps on scrapping. They've taken full advantage of that charity stripe. Those free throws, they add up. A nice start for Caron Butler. Dirk Nowitzki also a big factor for them. Some great basketball in today's action from these two as they've led the way in scoring for their teams. Thanks so much for joining us. Now let's get you back to your game with Kevin, Clark, and Doris. We hope to see you next time.
The second half now getting underway, and it's been a very close ball game so far. Here is Collison. 6-point game. Danny Granger and Tyler Hansbrough make up the forwards. Then it's Roy Hibbert. Then there's Collison. That's the 5 to begin the second half for Jim O'Brien. Hibbert gets the bucket. He's got 6.
Nice feed. That's the way to keep the ball moving.
Mavericks trailed by 8. Kidd kicks to Butler. No luck on the 3-point attempt.
With his shooting ability, he might as well have shot that one from half court. No chance.
Caron Butler had one of the worst seasons of his career last season, Clark.
You know, Kevin, ever since his All-Star appearance in 2009, it does seem as though he's not made as much progress, and he didn't really deliver the way they hoped he would in the playoffs. But sometimes when you're a mid-season trade acquisition, it really takes a while to get established and get comfortable.
That's a good point. Pacers leading by 8. One thing that obviously stands out for Dallas, Clark, the 27 road wins, which was #1 in the NBA last season. What a great road record. Only 14 losses away from home.
Extremely impressive, and a big improvement from the year before as well, Kevin. They were sub 500 on the road in 09, but last year they played like every court was their home court.
That turnaround by the Mavericks you were just talking about, it put them, Clark, back atop the Western standing.
Certainly, and just think about those numbers. I mean, there are a lot of teams that didn't come close to 27 wins the whole season, and the Mavs got that number just on the road.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Very much so.
That one misses, so he goes 1 for 2. Mavericks trailed by 7. Outside Kidd. Behind the arc. Kept alive. Butler against Granger. Granger against Butler. Nowitzki left side. The shot is off. And it's the Pacers taking it the other way. Outside Collison. Defended by Butler. Granger for the 3. The shot's good. Collison making the play. Granger's got 10. Here's Dallas, trailing by 10. Kidd dishes to Nowitzki. Hansbrough's there. They double team Nowitzki. Kidd. Nowitzki right side. Drains the easy jumper. 17 points in the game.
No wasted opportunities for him. He's been as efficient as a heat pump.
With the floater. And the Mavericks will go for a different look here. Brendan Haywood, he's checked in for Chandler. Marion comes in for Caron Butler. Jason Terry is checked in for Deshaun Stevenson. And Barea subbed in for Jason Kidd. Clock at 4. Takes a 3. The shot, no good. And Dallas the other way. Nowitzki outside. It's taken away by Collison. Barea gets whistled for blocking. That's his first foul.
A little too much body contact there. You have to stay in front of the ball handler by moving your feet, or you'll get tagged with that call every time.
Hansbrough sets a pick. Here's George. And 2 free throws coming up as he misses that one. Drawing the whistle and a lot of contact there. And the first one drops. And that one goes in. 2 from the line that time. Here is Barea. 1:48 left in the third. On the wing, Terry. With his first shot attempt, can't get it to go. And Indiana will go the other way with it. Clark Jason Terry playing the 6th-man role for the Mavs last season. A real big part of their success.
Well, and Kevin, he seems custom-made for that role, doesn't he? I mean, he can still start in a pinch, but the instant scoring off the bench is really nice to have when you're looking to be a contending team.
Here is Barea. He's covered by Collison. Marion against Granger. 8 feet out. Scooped up. Here's Nowitzki. Great finish in traffic. Nowitzki's got 19 points.
Nice. Big momentum builders, those second-chance points.
Outside Collison. Oh! And he jams it down, one-handed.
I think it's safe to say that that'll be the dunk of the night, Kevin.
Well, who doesn't love to see that kind of finish?
We all do.
And he makes the free throw. Here is Barea. 43 seconds left in the third quarter. The dump off. Marion outside. Granger covering. Rips it down.
The way this man can flush it is one of the reasons he's so much fun to watch.
Well, does he ever show us anything less? He's so dependable.
Always on top of his game.
And here's Collison. George. Terry covering. And Terry over to help. Pass to Granger. Here's George. And there are the Pacers with another bucket.
He's really one of the big reasons why they have the lead now. He's playing an extremely efficient game. It's fun to watch.
It's Terry outside. Hansbrough gets the board inside. We play through 3 and the double-digit game going on here. And we'll return momentarily. And now let's send it to our sideline reporter Doris Burke for our Sprite Spark of the game. Doris?
And Kevin, for that great stretch the Pacers put together, they get the Sprite Spark Award. During the third quarter, they put together a nice run and really looked to have the momentum in this game, Kevin.
Doris, thank you. Big scoring run there was the spark they needed.
Everything started to synergize, and once the ball was rolling, there was no stopping them.
So with Nowitzki sitting on the bench, here's who Rick Carlisle's going with. Kidd and Terry on. They're manning the backcourt. Chandler out there with Marion and Butler.
To get back into this game, Kevin, they need to really concentrate on limiting the turnovers. I mean, it hasn't been terrible for them,
but it's still hurting their cause.
George backs in. Just 5 to shoot. Guarded now by Jason Terry. And closing the shot, even with the foul. Now the 2 free throws. That's on Jason Terry. The first one falls.
They've really been fearless this half, going to the rack a lot more and getting rewarded for their efforts. They're getting chances at the free throw line, and they've cashed in on them, and that's why they're on top.
This game a pretty lopsided one.
Yeah, and they need to find some answers and quickly.
Marion, Hansbrough defending. On the wing, Marion. Hansbrough defending. Rebounded by Granger.
It's nice to give the fans some eye candy, but you got to convert.
And that's laid up and in. He's got 32.
What passion for the game. They're putting on a clinic out there.
Granger against Butler. And off the glass as he lays that one up and in.
The defense can't do much at that point. You've got to do your work early and be preventative.
Collison against Kidd.
Once he gets it inside, Kevin, he's really a good finisher. That's a good effort defensively to force the miss.
Terry outside. Deflects the pass. And Indiana has possession. George, guarded by Marion. Here's George. The shot misses. And Dallas the other way. And here is Marion. And here's Kidd from the arc. George grabs the rebound inside.
You got to expect more out of him here. He's had a lot of difficulty this quarter, which in turn is making it difficult for them to cut into this deficit at all.
Guarded by Marion. Here's George, but they recover it. He dumps it off. Here's Granger. Oh, and the jam by Granger.
And look at how he posed on the rim for a few seconds after that one. That's never going to endear you to your opponents. They don't like that kind of stuff.
No, he was enjoying that one so much he didn't want to let go.
Yeah, I think he was throwing salt in the wound, though.
And the Mavericks with some changes. Dirk Nowitzki, he's checked in for Marion. And it's Stevenson in for Jason Terry.
What a great game for Granger in this one. He has 12 points, and he's picked up 2 3-pointers to add to his totals. A terrific offensive combination, setting up teammates and knocking down the deep ball.
Here's Nowitzki. Good from the high post. Nowitzki's got 21 in the game.
He's doing as much as he possibly can out there. But his teammates have to carry their weight if they're going to have a chance to win.
And that one's good. And the Pacers lead by 18.
Healthy lead. And with smart play the rest of the way, they should be able to win this.
And the Mavericks call time here. They're losing by 18. 1:59 left in the fourth. And making a change here, the Mavericks. Terry's checked in. Here's Kidd. Nowitzki outside. Picked up by Collison. Granger against Butler. Let's go with a 3. And that one's good.
When you get a hot hand like him, it's real simple. You need to keep going with it.
George. Terry covering. Here's George. And that's collected by Butler. And here comes Kidd. Picked up by Collison. Kidd against Collison. Nowitzki kicks to Terry for 3. Shot is off. And Indiana will go the other way with it. Here's George. Buries the short-range shot. 37 points for him.
Way to close out an opponent. Kevin, I think we're done here.
It's taken away by Collison. Throws it up. Granger. And it's no good. Poor shot selection there, to say the least. Outside Terry. Good in the assist to Kidd.
The fast break left the defense scrambling to react, and they couldn't get to him in time.
Here's George. And the rebound goes to Jason Terry.
Shocking how wide open he was. Even more shocking that he couldn't sink it.
Just 2 seconds between shot clock and game clock. And it's Terry again missing. From deep. Kept alive.
He's having a very poor half from long range. He can't find the net from there, and the defense knows it.
So no problem for Indiana as they get the win. They put on a show tonight, thoroughly controlling each end of the floor.
Hey, what more can you ask?
That about does it for Clark Kellogg and Doris Burke and the rest of our great crew. This is Kevin Harlan saying so long and thanks for watching. Now, here is our Jordan Brand Player of the Game.